After Miso tells Youngjun she's decided to keep working for him, she invites him inside for some ramyun. She says it's always been her dream to spend evenings cooking with her husband after work. Youngjun smiles and tells her he wants to be that husband and make her dream come true. What they don't realize is that Miso's father is hiding under the covers in her bed, eavesdropping on Youngjun's sudden proposal. Just as Youngjun leans in to kiss Miso, Dad bursts out from under the blanket, screaming at the top of his lungs, "I object." Miso asks why her dad isn't at the hospital, and he says he was discharged, but there's no water at his house. He says he needs to have a man-to-man talk with Youngjun, and Youngjun looks helplessly back at Miso as he's literally dragged out the door. Dad takes him to a Pojangamacha, a small, tented street stall in Korea where people eat cheap food and drink casually. There, he tells Youngjun he's very disappointed in his unromantic proposal, saying he'd eat ramyun with her every day, even if it filled him with MSG. Youngjun explains that he just meant he wanted them to live simply and happily. Dad orders him to propose again, this time with real romance, warning that he'll be keeping an eye on him. Dad starts pouring drinks, and before long, Youngjun is tipsily thanking him for bringing Miso into the world. He impresses Dad with how much he knows about Miso, like how she loves mackerel but stopped eating it after choking on a bone, or how she avoids spicy food when she's stressed. When Youngjun reveals he even knows the details of Dad's failed business and bad personal loan, Dad slurs that their family is poorer than Youngjun might think. He asks if Youngjun still loves Miso, and if he's sure his feelings won't change. Youngjun promises they won't. Dad shouts that he gives his approval and officially names Youngjun as his son-in-law if he proposes properly. Meanwhile, Miso gets worried when she can't reach Youngjun by phone. She waits outside and is shocked to see her dad and Youngjun stumbling home arm in arm, loudly declaring their love for each other. She hears Dad say he doesn't care if Youngjun is rich, as long as he treats Miso well, though it's a nice bonus that he is rich. Miso recoils at the smell of alcohol as they approach, and when she scolds her dad for drinking at his age, Youngjun sharply tells her not to talk to his father-in-law like that. Big mistake, she immediately turns on him, reminding him that he's got an important meeting tomorrow. Dad leans in and stage whispers that Miso scares him sometimes, and Youngjun replies that she scares him all the time. They both burst into giggles, and Dad says he's heading inside, leaving Miso in charge of calling a cab for her future husband. Miso parks Youngjun on a bench and calls Yoshik to come pick him up. Then she scolds Youngjun for drinking so much, knowing he has such a low alcohol tolerance. Half-conscious, Youngjun murmurs sweetly that he loves her, and just like that, Miso's frustration melts away. He tells her that when he saw her 9 years ago, he was so happy, even though she didn't recognize him. He thinks he's loved her ever since. As he gently strokes her hair, he smiles and says he's going to make her happy for the rest of her life, and that because of her, he'll be happy for the rest of his. He says, "I love you," again, then passes out, slumping onto her shoulder. Smiling, Miso holds him and softly pats him as he sleeps. The next morning, Youngjun wakes up in his own bed, still mostly dressed, trying to figure out what happened the night before. He desperately hopes he didn't embarrass himself in front of Miso's father, but even his sharp brain can't recall much. On the way to work, he clutches his queasy stomach, silently begging it not to ruin the calm, dignified image he's worked so hard to build. At the office, the team look like sad children when Miso arrives. They've prepared a small farewell ceremony, complete with a song and a plaque to thank her for her years of service. Feeling guilty, Miso finally tells them she's not quitting after all. They erupt in cheers and make her pinky promise that she'll never try to leave again. Jia suddenly remembers that she was supposed to take Miso's place, and now she might be out of a job. But Miso says it was thanks to Jia lightening her workload that she finally had time for herself again. So, she doesn't want anything to change. When someone mentions how Jia and Sarah defended her from gossip, Miso invites both women to dinner that night. Later, Miso brings Youngjun hangover soup, but glares at him for getting drunk in the first place. He avoids her gaze and says sheepishly that sometimes he worries his perfection is too intimidating. Miso rolls her eyes, accusing him of just making excuses for getting drunk. But Youngjun insists that he did it on purpose to show he has flaws, too. Miso reminds him that he's the president of a company, but he replies that first and foremost, he's a man, and soon to be a husband. So it was only right that he listened to his future father-in-law. Miso curiously asks what they talked about, but Youngjun just smirks and says, "That's a secret." That doesn't stop him from rushing straight to Yoshik to say that he needs to propose to Miso. Yoshik suggests he just rent a fancy restaurant and buy some expensive champagne, but Youngjun says he already did that once, and it didn't work. Same goes for Yoshik's idea of renting an amusement park. Youngjun says he's already tried that, too. So Yoshik suggests maybe he should just pop the question in a natural, unplanned moment. But Youngjun says he's done that as well. Hoping for a fresh idea, Youngjun asks Yoshik how he proposed to his ex-wife. Yoshik proudly says he proposed beneath the Eiffel Tower in Paris, but Youngjun quickly rejects that one, saying he doesn't want to copy a proposal that ended in divorce. Still, it's the only idea he's got, so he starts brainstorming other romantic places. He eventually decides on Las Vegas and begins planning the whole trip by himself. While Sarah is making copies, Cheol sneakily sends a print command to the copier that says, "I love you." Sarah loudly announces that she's heading to the roof for some fresh air, and Cheol quickly follows with the excuse that he needs to call his mom. They think they're being slick, but the whole office already knows they're secretly dating. They notice that GWI Nam seems completely uninterested in the office gossip and tease him about whether he's dating anyone. Jia looks disappointed when he replies that he's in a relationship with his work. Youngjun tells Miso to cancel his schedule for next week because he's taking her to Vegas. But Miso flatly says no, there's too much going on at work right now, and going away together would only make the office gossip worse. When she tells him she's going out with her girlfriends that night, Youngjun pouts but insists he doesn't care, even though it's obvious he's disappointed his plan got rejected. Over drinks, Jia and Sarah push Miso for juicy details about her romance with Youngjun. They squeal when she admits that he fell in love with her first, then Miso quickly changes the subject and asks about Sarah's hero. Sarah grins and says things are getting physical, but Miso turns to Jia to ask if she's seeing anyone. Jia says sadly that she likes someone, but he only cares about work. Sarah tells her to go after him boldly and make him notice her. Meanwhile, Youngjun searches online for proposal ideas. He thinks a path of candles is too cheesy, and the "Love Actually" card idea is a waste of time and paper. He checks his phone, hoping for a message from Miso, and wonders what she's doing. The ladies are getting tipsy, though Miso tries hard to keep her cool. She totters to the restroom with exaggerated grace, and when Youngjun calls her, Jia and Sarah answer. They shout that Miso is super drunk and demand that let him come to pick her up. Miso is ridiculously happy to see him when he arrives and invites him to join them. Sarah declares that since he's her boyfriend, they'll just call him by name, leaving both Youngjun and Miso completely stunned. They ask Youngjun what he likes about Miso, and he simply says she's pretty. The girls laugh, then steal his watch and wallet to stop him from leaving. Youngjun turns to Miso for help, but she's laughing too hard to do anything. Sarah then asks when they're getting married, guessing it'll be the most romantic proposal ever. Youngjun looks a bit trapped, especially as Sarah and Jia start throwing out wild proposal ideas. He gets a few ideas, until Miso grimaces and says that renting a jet and a private island would be a total waste of money. Youngjun ends up practically carrying Miso home as she giggles, admitting she's never been this drunk before. Then, out of nowhere, she gets mock angry, saying that all these years she's poured him drinks and he's never offered her one or driven her home. But then she smiles, says she still likes him, and thanks him for picking her up. He teases her to be impressed by his face instead. She sighs and agrees, saying he's totally handsome and a great singer, too. She shouts in his ear that when he sang her that lullaby, it touched her heart and helped her sleep like a baby. The next morning, Miso wakes up with the mother of all hangovers and unfortunately remembers quite a bit of her silly behavior from the night before. When she gets to work, Sarah and Jia rush over, worried about how they acted with Youngjun at the bar, and realizing they still have his wallet and watch. They head upstairs to return his things, expecting the worst, but Youngjun isn't as angry as they feared. He just tells them that he hopes never to see that again, then dismisses them. He crookedly summons Miso with a smirk and a finger. Keeping on his serious, angry boss expression, he tells her to sit and offers her hangover soup. Nervously, Miso tries to use the same excuse he once did, claiming she's just too perfect. But Youngjun sneers and tells her not to do it again, not because she's his secretary, but because you're my woman. Then he drops the act and says he's just worried about her health, though she is pretty cute when she's drunk. Elsewhere, Jia heads to the break room to guzzle water, and Nam comments that she drank a lot last night. She asks how he knows, and he's surprised she forgot something. He says he even has it on video. Jia snatches his phone and is horrified to see herself drunkenly begging him to date her. Nam gently says she was clearly joking because she was so drunk. But Jia quietly says it wasn't a joke. She bravely confesses that she's liked him since he brought her those tomatoes and helped glue her shredded notes, or maybe ever since he told her about his lonely life. She looks up at him, hopeful. But Nam says they'll talk later, giving her hope that he might return her feelings. Later, when they do talk, Nam says Jia is a kind person who keeps secrets and has helped him a lot. But, he adds, he can't date her, not because he doesn't like her, but because he's focused on working hard and buying a house. He says he doesn't want any distractions. He explains that if she dated him, she'd have to give up a lot, like her daily caramel macchiatos and other nice things she enjoys. Jia says she's okay with that, but Nam gently insists that he doesn't want her to live like that. Jia quietly slips into the stairwell to cry, not knowing that Nam sits on that bench for a long time afterward, sighing with regret. Youngjun's dad walks in to find his wife wearing an expensive French face mask, claiming it will make her look like she's in her 20s again. He laughs and says she'd need to go back 40 years for that, then jokingly calls her greedy. Mom snaps back that if she were truly greedy, she never would have married him. Meanwhile, Youngjun is sulking in Yoshik's office, frustrated that he still hasn't come up with a good proposal idea because he's so stressed about it. He bans Yoshik from even saying the word proposal, so Yoshik teases him by using words like professional and pro baseball, until Youngjun threatens to fire him. Word of the relationship spreads, and mom calls Youngjun to come home. She asks him directly if it's true he's dating Miso. He apologizes for not telling her sooner and says he plans to marry Miso. Mom nods, taking it seriously, but when Youngjun reminds her she used to like Miso, she hesitates. She admits she's worried because Saegyeon likes Miso too. She explains that after years of animosity between the brothers, and with their reconciliation still new, she's afraid jealousy over Miso could tear them apart again. Youngjun looks down, unable to respond, but Saegyeon, who has overheard, steps in. He tells mom not to worry. He explains that he was drawn to Miso because he thought they shared the same trauma, but the truth is, she was with Youngjun during the kidnapping. It makes sense that things ended this way. Later, Saegyeon tells Youngjun he's been seeing a therapist and that it's helping him. Then he asks if Youngjun has proposed yet. When Youngjun's silence gives him the answer, Saegyeon advises him not to copy others or go over the top, but to focus on what Miso likes and what he truly wants to give her. That night, Youngjun thinks it over and then calls Miso, asking her to come over right away. When she arrives, she sees a path of candles leading her to a table filled with her favorite caramels. The next table has a stuffed dog, a mini hard-working cow doll, and a notepad that reads, Misoya, I prepared a classic proposal, because I am a classical man. Who prepared it? I did. I am willing to become childish for you. Come in, my woman. An arrow points her inside. She follows it and finds Youngjun playing the piano in front of a wall of cascading water. When he sees her, he begins to sing a song just for her, My darling, come into my arms and close your eyes, and share a love dream with me. Miso starts crying before the song even ends. Youngjun tells her that if his lullaby helped her sleep peacefully once, then he wants to sing to her for the rest of her life. He adds that he never asks anyone for permission, but this time, he's asking hers, politely and with love. He kneels and holds out a music box. Inside is a ring. He asks simply, Will you marry me? Miso nods, too emotional to speak. He stands and gently puts the ring on her finger, then grins and jokes, so it only took 5 proposals to get an answer out of you. Miso laughs through her tears and reminds him, I proposed first, when I was 5. They both laugh. Youngjun gazes at her like she's his entire world and softly tells her he loves her. Miso smiles and says she loves him, too. Then, at last, he kisses her. Sometime later, Yoshik opens his front door to find Youngjun standing there looking absolutely furious. Yoshik, confused, asks what he's doing here. Youngjun growls, Why do you think? Kim Miso, what's wrong with her? We cut to Miso, who's surrounded by both her family and Youngjun's, looking exasperated. I can't get married like this, she cries in frustration.